Welcome, everyone. How are you guys doing this fine day? Thank you for being with us here on a Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight, I have a very, very special and important show. As many of you know, the pet project of Melania Trump is the Be Best campaign. It is something near and dear to her heart. The president's wife, the First Lady, does not like cyber bullies or cyber bullying. She does not like bullying, period. And it just so happens that tonight we're going to address this. We're going to talk about the tactics used by bullies and extortionists and abusers. They're very, very similar, in fact. We're going to talk about all of that tonight on my show titled Bullying and Extortion Tactics. In order to defeat a bully, in order to overcome an extortionist, you need to understand the tactics behind them. You need to see them for what they are. And you need to know how to defend and protect yourself and others from it. We have been doing just that. In the case of an abusive bully by the name of Paloma Zuniga Delint, aka Paloma for Trump, or Paloma for fraud, as I have dubbed her. Because, as you know, she has committed a number of what I believe are offenses, including possible criminal offenses in the form of voter fraud, harassment, extorting money from people, threatening people, cyberbullying, and the list goes on. And the list goes on. And the evidence keeps mounting. So we're going to talk more about all of that, what it looks like, and I will be having a special guest. Mary Tando-Quintanilla is going to be joining us again tonight to share her knowledge and first-hand experience, not only as a person that knew Paloma well, that was friends with her for years, that trusted her, that supported her, that tried to be a good friend to her, only to discover that she was going to become a victim of Paloma's as well. And now Paloma would also like to victimize her disabled granddaughter. And many of you have seen the bullying she has had to endure since she bravely came forward to tell her story. So we're going to cover all of that on tonight's show, and we will show you that she is a serial abuser of our American court system. She, like Nicole Ramos and many of these crooked lawyers groups, bring frivolous lawsuits that go nowhere. And they do it to waste people's time, money, energy in a form of psychological torture that keeps people spinning. And we will also find out, because there has been a miracle that happened today, in that long-awaited question about whether this ACLU plus Al Otro Lado, aka Nicole Ramos et al. Group of people from this, what did they call it, a sanctuary coalition that were suing the administration to stop the implementation of an asylum ban, essentially, that would force these people who are really economic migrants. They're not migrants that are qualified to receive asylum in most cases, and send them back to Mexico. So they are not allowed to abuse our asylum laws and take advantage of a loophole that they do not qualify for asylum in the end for. That news I will be sharing at the top of tonight's show. But first, I want to thank all of you. In particular, tonight, I want to thank my guest, Mary Tando, but I want to thank all of Paloma's victims. Those of you who have come forward, and those of you who are not ready to come forward. And for those of you who will never be able to come forward. For those of you who are still under her thumb, who are still being extorted, belittled, who are still being made fun of, attacked, whose family is still being attacked or destroyed. To those of you out there who have been suffering in silence, I want you to know you're not alone. Mary's going to come on and tell you you're not alone. And I want you all to know that the light of truth, exposing the light of truth to the world, is the best and strongest way to combat bullying and extortion tactics. It's the best way that you could possibly attack something like that. So all of you, for your bravery, for your strength, for hanging in there, for months sometimes, for enduring the mental and physical battle that you've had to endure to get to where you are right now, to have stayed alive, stayed strong, and for standing up for those of you who have, and for coming forward for those of you who have. I commend you for your strength and for your courage, and we will continue to expose these tactics and bullies behind them here on A Mexican Crossing Lines. I also want to thank all of you who have sent emails and messages and left voicemails, and especially I want to thank everyone who continues to support our work with your donations. Remember, we are not beholden to corporate sponsors. We are beholden to our listeners and followers. Duke, how can people support our work?
Well, thank you. There's many ways you can support us and ways to get a hold of us. We take these shows, and many times we put them on the air locally, so I'd like to put our call-in line number on there for people. It's 701-566-0917, 701-566-0917. It's a great way to leave a voice message for us, or if you want to do an email, send an email to Cindy at kpppfm.com, or me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. You can also you can tweet us at media_PPP. And you can go to Facebook at 88.1 Fargo Moorhead, the People's Press Project of Mexi-Can, and go to our website, kpppfm.com. There you'll find Mexican Crossing Lines, Finding Me, Sabor Latino, all the other shows we have on there. We also have a new show called The Policy that airs on Monday, and all sorts of stuff to look up there, our history, our past reporting, our past projects, and also the donation tab that Cindy spoke about. We are a nonprofit organization. We basically survive and pay for the station costs through donations from the community, from people who are our listeners, people who support us, businesses that support us. You can do an underwriting spot on the radio here in Fargo Moorhead with a tax-deductible contribution, which we will air a 30-second underwriting spot that talks about your business, place, what you do, and those sorts of things, and you'll get some coverage there. So if you have something you'd like to have announced in this local area to about 200,000 people, go to their webpage and look that up too on how to do underwriting opportunities. But if you want to just make a regular tax-deductible donation for our work or for our travel fund, because we are going to Mexico in October, go to kpppfm.com/donate, make a donation. I know someone made a donation yesterday. I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you and given you a tax-deductible receipt yet. I will do that tonight after the show, and it's a great way to show your support. We've had a person sending in a check every month, and every dollar helps us do our work, and we spend it wisely, and we are improving the quality of our programming, and we are doing many, many more lives. We are doing YouTube lives now at Duke1517 is the YouTube channel. You go there and please subscribe. You'll be notified every time we go live there, and you can join in the super chat, and you can do live chat where you pay a lot more attention to the chat on YouTube because it's structured a little bit different. These shows we respond to, but we're doing some content, and we got to focus on that content to give you the best show possible. Thank you very much for joining us. Tonight's show is going to be excellent.
Thank you very much. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready here to share with you this NBC article. Remember, I was just talking about Al Otro Lado, and how their case is working its way through the court system, and it's probably going to take a long time. And we're going to have to wait until the Supreme Court decides what, ultimately how this is going to play out throughout the rest of the country. But guess what? Here's the thing. The Supreme Court already made a decision.
Really? That fast?
Yes.
Wow.
I think I don't want to say it's unprecedented. Like the Supreme Court has never ruled on something like this before. I think by doing so, they are, hearing my prayers, because as I said, these people in Al Otro Lado and these other organizations, they're going to continue to make money off of this smuggling operation, this period of time when crime and corruption are, rife for the taking for whoever wants to participate in this smuggling and trafficking of people and things. And they know that until it comes a final decision from a Supreme Court, that people like Nicole Ramos can just tell the migrants what she yelled at Ben Bergquam of America's Voice. I'm suing the American government. And of course, what's implied behind that is, and I'm going to win. I am in the right. I am going to win. And that's why it's so infuriating to see them celebrate those small victories like the one they had in the Ninth Circuit Court the day before, when I went on 630 Point of View with Chris Berg and talked about what's really behind this organization's tactics. What they're trying to do is basically prolong their ability to, crime while the Supreme Court or while there's a final decision that they can no longer refute, that they can no longer hide behind or trick people with. Because the migrants, that the whole story about how they were traveling in caravans because they don't have money and this is a way for them to stay safe is a lie. They're traveling, and Mexico's government has confirmed this, with coyotes, many of whom are involved working with Al Otro Lado. I mean, not only Al Otro Lado, but Pueblos Sin Fronteras. And they are making money. Olga Sanchez de Cordero said in Mexico that the average was somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 per person. And that was when we were talking exclusively about Central Americans, because now we have people coming from as far as Africa. So the stakes are high. And India, where people are paying $25,000 to $50,000 a head to be brought into the United States. This is $1 billion business, folks. And sadly, the bleeding, I knew, would not end until there was a more affirmative decision from the Supreme Court, which these people, these vultures, these crisis vultures, like Al Otro Lado and the mercenary activists that are in Mexico right now taking advantage of the situation, we're going to continue to milk for every last drop. And thankfully, the Supreme Court said, I guess we're not going to let them do that. This is a massive blow. Here's the headline. Supreme Court allows Trump administration to enforce the toughest restriction yet on asylum requests. A law to stop the new policy, that's a lawsuit of Al Otro Lado, a lawsuit to stop this new policy is still working its way through the lower courts. It is. But the Supreme Court supersedes everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Supreme Court late Wednesday gave the Trump administration permission to enforce its toughest restrictions yet on asylum seekers at the southern border, even though a lawsuit by Al Otro Lado, the ACLU, and the other people in that sanctuary coalition group you saw, Innovation Law Lab and others, that lawsuit was to stop this new policy. And that case is still working its way through the lower courts. Good luck with that, Nicole. As a result, the government can now refuse to consider a request for asylum from anybody who failed to apply for asylum in one of the countries that they were crossing as they came to the U.S. So what that means is that anybody from Central America, for example, Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, if they did not request asylum in Mexico first, they can't request asylum in America. They can't say that they skipped that step because they would have been required to request it in Mexico first. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor dissented, saying that the court had acted too quickly and that they should allow the case to work its way through the normal judicial process. So you see, this decision, very unexpected. Even these two dissenting judges, Ginsburg and Sotomayor, said this was not the normal process and that the justices should not have made a decision yet. The administration said the new restriction is needed to respond to, quote, an unprecedented surge of people who enter the country illegally and seek asylum if they're caught. But officials said only a small fraction of them are eventually found qualified for asylum. I've been saying that from the very beginning. Quote, the rule thus screens out asylum seekers who declined to request protection at their first opportunity, i.e. in another country, close quote, said Solicitor General Noel Francis. He said it allows immigration officials to concentrate on asylum seekers who most need protection. Now, you may recall that when all of this nonsense started, I explained to most of you that our asylum seeking process was already backlogged, that people that were seeking asylum in our country had years of waiting, and there was a backlog of between 90 to 100,000 cases already before all of the caravan nonsense started. What do you think it is now, folks? What do you think it is at this moment? I'll tell you. The backlog currently, because of all of this nonsense, is 436,000.
Wow.
Nearly 500,000. What is that an increased percentage of, Duke?
It's 4 times as much.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Crazy. In a year, Duke?
Yeah. And it's going to, imagine how many years it's going to take to go through all those cases. All the money and funding it's going to take away from other cases that should be heard. It's like a bunch of wasted cases because they use what they call a loophole to get people in, and they're just, awaiting a court hearing, and it used to take up to 5 years with the 90,000. Now it's at almost 500,000. Hard to imagine how much time it's going to take for those court systems to go through those, asylum claims and just see if they're actually justified. It's a lot of wasted money. It's costing a lot of people money. There's going to be a bunch of people in this country that basically have no means to provide for themselves as they wait to go to court. I don't know. It's horrible what's been going on.
It truly is. It truly is. And I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. I said that on Chris's show too. I don't like to make assertions about the law, just as I don't like other people who are lay people, many of whom don't know what the hell they're talking about discussing the law. But I do respect the decision of the court to rule on this now. I did not read the dissents of Sotomayor or Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but I will say they're very intelligent women. I think all of our justices are. You don't get to be a Supreme Court justice without being wickedly intelligent. But, aside from the decision itself and the respect for the process and everything, there are exceptions to the rule. People change. Hopefully we're all changing. Hopefully we're all learning and adapting accordingly. I mean, if you would have talked to me 6 months ago when we were telling people that they should abolish ICE and that separating families and caging kids was a monstrosity, we too were taken in by the propaganda. And of course, we didn't really understand how the people that had been at Standing Rocks in politics, like AOC and Linda Sarsour and all of these other people, were literally behind those messages, that propaganda and their agenda. But behind the Women's March and Code Pink and all of these organizations I've been talking about since then, their agenda is politicized and it is propaganda. And it is controlling the narrative of our policy and politics, not just in Mexico, but in the United States and across the globe, on immigration policy, on refugees, on border security. We have to try and stay in step with what is actually happening in the world. And we can't get tripped up by the fact that people from Central America and these pseudo-activist groups in the United States are using migration as a tactic of an attack against the sovereignty of these countries. We have to be able to recognize that and take defensive action. And I believe that this Supreme Court ruling is going to put the kibosh on this nonsense real quick. So let us all celebrate this miracle that happened just yesterday. Yep. I was saying, I know that it stinks that we won't get a decision from the Supreme Court for a long time, so we're not going to get to find out how this is all going to come down in the end for a while. But I will tell you, this is a tactic.
Yep.
It's a tactic, and it stinks, and I wish that they could get rid of it. And then,
boom.
Baby Jesus heard me. I'd love to think the Supreme Court justices were going, but what you know is that they've been considering doing this for a while. That the administration and people within the administration have been saying to the Supreme Court, you know what? We are not going to let these people continue to traffic children.
Yeah, exactly.
And people and things. We're going to stop this now. You need to make a ruling. And thankfully, it was done. I don't know how it all worked, but you know what? I like to imagine that that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's jump into celebrating that and talking about the extortion and the bullying tactics used by Paloma for Trump, a.k.a. Paloma Zuniga Delint, as she is otherwise known, her legal name, I guess. And I want to start off by showing her abuse of our legal system. It is not as egregious as the abuse of the legal system by the al otro lado lawyers and the other groups that they're affiliated with, but it is a form of abuse nonetheless, because it makes people waste money. It makes people have a heightened anxiety of having to go and confront this person that's harassing them or bullying them online in person. It involves travel. It's, there's a lot of that. And Paloma for Trump is a pro at it. She not only has been doing it to people in the United States, but a majority, which she admits, are all conservatives. Take a look for yourself. Here's a graphic that we'll start with that shows you this person that I'm going to share more of his story in a moment, and how his order, temporary restraining order that he believes Paloma tried to take out against him using a fake name and a fake address, is really about Paloma trying to extort money out of him. And we'll go through all of that in a minute. Here's this graphic from the declaration he made with regard to this temporary restraining order, a request for civil harassment restraining order made by a woman, which he doesn't know. And so this person, this gentleman, we're going to call him Pablo. We were not going to show his full name here, but he basically tells the court that the person that threatened to file a restraining order against him right before he was served with this request for civil harassment restraining order was actually Paloma Zuniga, not the person listed on the restraining order. He goes on to say he never threatened her. He doesn't know where she lives or where she works, that he blocked her from contacting him anymore because she was asking him to send her money. This was extortion. She was extorting money from this guy, and I'm going to show you why I'm saying that from his own more detailed declaration in a minute. The person that filed this restraining order, who this man has never heard of, is a woman named Maria Johnson. I don't think it's a real name, and it's definitely not a real address. And we'll show you that in a minute as well. Finally, in number 5, it says that he understands Paloma Zuniga has experience. He's talking about her pattern of harassing people and abusing, I should say, the court system to do it. And says that Zuñiga has experience in filing requests for civil harassment restraining orders, that no court has granted her petitions, and that in 2 cases in June, she filed them, and she filed 10 cases with this court from March 27th to May 28th of 2019. And we're going to look at all of those. By the way, I should tell folks this man's request or petition against the woman who is probably just an alias for Paloma Zuniga or something, because he didn't know who she was, and she filed this from a fake address. They had all of these. They had this all dismissed. This case brought by Maria Johnson against this man Pablo, it's been dismissed. It's gone. But what's important is what's behind it. They submitted this proof that Paloma Zuniga had filed 2 civil harassment cases that were dismissed in the Superior Court of Los Angeles. And here is that proof. This one is blurry, but as you can see on the second one here, you'll note that it was dismissed. Okay? So that first case, the second one here's another one. You see, it was filed by Paloma. She is the person filing it. And here it was dismissed. Next one. You can see it was dismissed. And then we'll go to the next one. This is proof that Paloma Zuniga has 10 civil harassment petitions that were filed between March 27, 2019 and May 28, 2019 in Superior Court. 8 of them were dismissed and 2 of them were denied. So let's go through them. Here's the first one. This shows you all of the cases.
Wow.
This person is a serial abuser of the court system. And this is just the ones that she's made using her name. This doesn't take into account ones like Pablo's case where she had some other person file it for her or used a fake name. Next graphic. Here you see one of these cases in which you see from start to finish that the court ordered entire action dismissed without prejudice. And of course, you see Paloma Zuniga's name there. The next one, this one is for a different person, as you can see. And what happened to it? It was dismissed without prejudice. And here's another one against another person. And what happened to that case? Well, it says right there in number 11, the court ordered the entire action dismissed. And here's another case in which, as you can see, in number 11, the court threw out her case and it was dismissed. And here's another one in which, the court ordered the entire action dismissed. And then here's another one. Of course, you see her name is circled there at the top. Make note of it. It's all Paloma Zuniga, the petitioner, the harasser. What happened to this? The court order was dismissed. And here's another one. And it's, of course, you see right there, It says it was dismissed. Here's another case. And this one, if you scroll down there to the bottom, you will see it was dismissed. This is just case number 8. I'm still going. But you see the restraining order as requested was denied. Next, here we go. Look at that. Petitioner Paloma Zuniga at the bottom, dismissed. This is number 9, folks. We're almost done. We're almost at the finish line, folks. Another one. And here's the last one. You see, this too, if you scroll down, was denied. Denied without prejudice. That's number 10. This is what a person that is obsessed, a person that does not accept no for an answer, a person that doesn't understand consent does. That's what a person like that does. And to talk about this more with me, I'm going to bring on Mary Tando here in just a minute. I just wanted to show you before we get started, because I want her to comment on this request made by Mr. Pablo in scene 2, for a telephonic appearance, because he not only asked the court to dismiss this case because it's made by a fake person from a fake address, a Maria Johnson person he never knew, doesn't know, never met, but also in this second document, Pablo responded, and he says that he shouldn't have to go to this. This is what he stated in court. And of course, I guess, if you missed it, you just came in, you should know Pablo's case was dismissed. This Maria Johnson's request was dismissed, just like all the other things that Paloma has been dismissed for. But these are the serious allegations. Mary, if you're listening, I'm going to be contacting you in just a minute. Get ready. Right after we read this. This is what Pablo said. He says, I do not know anyone by the name Maria Johnson. I was romantically involved with a woman, Paloma Zuniga. I met her in blank county in February 2017. She would come visit me here in Pittsburgh, California. We went on a trip to Lake Tahoe together. She told me that she lived in San Diego and Tijuana. I never went to her residence. She told me she owns a business in Tijuana. I never met anyone that works for her. I don't know if she has co-workers. I was sending her money through Western Union to help her with her divorce. She connected me with her quote unquote attorney. Now, why do you suppose this man is putting the name of the attorney in quotes and the word attorney in quotes? Well, listen up and you'll hear. Roberto Vargas is the name of the so-called attorney at a Mexico phone number. And there's the area code. We redacted the number. I was told that she was in process of selling her house in Tijuana. I began to send her money and the attorney money through Western Union to make repairs to the house. Doesn't it sound like he's trying to help her get out of the relationship with her husband?
Sounds like
Little does he know how they fraud together. I have a cousin that lives in Tijuana, and I was made to believe that she could help rent out the house in Tijuana. During one of my telephone conversations with Paloma's quote-unquote attorney in Tijuana, I asked him what my rights were about a man that had scammed me out of $7,700 here in California. The audio recordings that Paloma Zuniga and her quote-unquote attorney have of my voice was not a call or a threat that I made to Paloma Zuniga. It was part of a recording of the edited and altered, telephone conversation I had with that attorney about the man who scammed me. The recording has been edited or altered to play as if I am threatening. I stopped sending money to Paloma Zuniga about 2 months ago. So he said, that's it. You have bled me long enough. I stopped sending money about 2 months ago. She continued to call and text me. See, she does not understand the meaning of the word no or consent. I also stopped talking with this attorney when I realized I had fallen for another scheme. The last telephone conversation that I had with Paloma, she threatened to file a restraining order against me if I didn't send her $5,000. You listening to this, Duke?
Oh, yeah.
$5,000. She told me about the recording she had of my voice. I blocked her phone number. I was then served with this frivolous petition filed by a woman I've never met with a mailing address of 1511 A Street, San Diego, and then transposed address of 115 A Street, San Diego. U.S. Postal Service does not find either of these addresses. The addresses are as bogus as this complaint. Okay. While you guys all digest that, I'm going to have Duke call Mary Tando. Let's bring her in on this conversation so we may discuss. Because she has a little more information. Here we go. Let's get Mary Tando on the phone here. So we may discuss.
There she is.
Is Mary Tando on the line? Can you hear me? Here we go.
Hello.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. How do I accept?
Oh, have you already accepted? I think you've already accepted. I can see you on the screen.
We can see you. You are on.
You are accepted.
We see you.
We see
Hello.
you. Hello. Thank you for being on again. I know you have a very busy life as a mom, as a grandma, as a caretaker for animals. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
You should probably shut off the sound. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She's going to shut off the sound real quick.
She was following along with the show.
She's watching the
I
show.
had to turn my iPad off.
That's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Don't you worry about it. Everything is just fine. So I gather you were listening and following along with the show right now as I was showing the evidence that has been provided in the court system. This is all legal filings that are available publicly in the court system about the activities of Paloma and how she uses the court systems to harass people. Now, what knowledge do you have of this tactic of hers? Because you were a witness for her in a case like this, right?
Well, yes, everybody, hello. I'm glad to be here with you all. Can I just make a couple statements really quick? I want to make sure I invited people on my Facebook to come and listen to what I have to say about cyberbullying.
Yes.
And this person has smeared my name all over on her pages, accusing me of horrendous falsities. I mean, if you were to understand what she's saying, it is just, it's beyond words that any person could say such horrible things. And this is all we'll talk about in a little while. But
Sure.
because I put it on Facebook, I see some comments. People think that this is drama. People think that this is like a getting back at somebody. Let me just say, this has nothing to do with getting back at anybody. This has to do with addressing the issue of cyberbullying. And we know this is a very serious matter. Melania Trump, our First Lady, has addressed this specifically. And it's harmful to children. My granddaughter is not a child. She is an adult. But nevertheless, she's including my granddaughter in all of these false allegations, threatening to call CPS. And so we'll get to that later, but I just want to let my followers know on Facebook that are listening that this has nothing to do. Please, let's not misconstrue. This episode today has nothing to do with getting back at anybody. It has nothing to do with drama. Anybody can go to my page and see I've never spoken anything. But if you go to her page, you're going to see drama, 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 drama. And so I just want to differentiate between the two parties involved here. I'm trying to provide awareness to a very serious issue. So, sorry.
I thank you for saying that. And can I add that I am eternally grateful for what you have done. And I'm so sorry that you've had to go through all of this, but I really am. And I'm speaking this to you on behalf of the dozens of people who came forward after you were on my show to tell me their stories. I know some of them have reached out to you too, so you know what I'm talking about, Mary. Yes. They couldn't come forward. They couldn't do it. They were silenced. They were bullied. They were shamed. They didn't have your strength. They were, some of them had information that, Paloma had information and pictures of them.
Yes.
She had interfered in their marriages. They didn't want to revisit those wounds. They did not have the strength that you have or the position of moral virtue you're speaking from. So I want to thank you for being brave, because you didn't have to do this. You got plenty of other things going on in your life. But you were very, very gracious when I asked you and when I told you how much this would help people. And I'm really grateful that you did it.
Yes. And, I appreciate you. I think this is a forum that's being used for the better. It's a good message, and it's an important one. So I hope that people listen very carefully here today, and they don't make prejudgments. She constantly goes on her page to explain that she's being attacked and that she's being harassed. You'll find nowhere, anywhere, that I've ever attacked her or harassed her, anywhere. Now, if you want to take a question, if I said, I wonder if her dogs are okay, if I'm just responding to someone's post, and we're discussing something, that shouldn't be the same. It's not equivalent at all to harassing somebody. So she wants to shut me down. Anybody that speaks anything about her, she should just, if it's not true, she should just leave it be. But regardless, we have a lot to talk about today, so I just wanted to make sure that that was made clear.
Well, the first point that I brought up is, I've talked in the past about the different ways in which she is accused of bullying people, which includes her taking pictures of people in compromising situations. You confirmed on your past interview that she does do that because she showed you some of those pictures. Today, I wanted you to confirm the case of Pablo, because you know that the gentleman that made this denunciation against Paloma for the temporary restraining order that got thrown out of court, you know that it is the same guy that she has been taking money from for years. Now, how do you know that?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that testimony from this gentleman in a recent court hearing or restraining order she was trying to get from him. I've never heard of that before. That's absolutely amazing. You read it. I'm like flabbergasted right now to even hear. But I'm glad. I'm glad that this man stood up and stood forward. And it's strange because there was a receipt left at my house, and Paloma had used this man's credit card, and I thought, wow, this is kind of strange. This man is this receipt I have is not for
Her credit card.
her credit card. She's using somebody else's credit card, and I just was like wondering who is this person. Maybe they don't know that their credit card's being used. Maybe it's fraud. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know, but I knew it wasn't from her. So that is the same person that you just read from that declaration regarding that temporary restraining order that was dismissed.
Right,
So
because
here
you saw
we
the
have-
name, you saw the names, and you confirmed that that is the same guy that's on the receipt
Yeah.
that you found at your house.
Yeah, so here we have, last time I was on your show, we talked about a
video chat.
Yeah, the video was Marcos Gutierrez saying that his client, she had ripped off his client for a couple $1,000s.
Mm-hmm.
And what I talked about that was when I asked her about it, she was very flamboyant about it. She said, yeah, I can get money from him anytime I want. So she kind of elaborated on and admitted to me that, since then I found out he is a disabled man. He is someone who's missing an eye. And so here you have, I find that she's taking advantage of someone who is in need. He's needy of services. And she took advantage of that to the point where what you just read was absolutely astounding. I didn't even know that. I never read that before. I didn't see that. So I was just like, where did you get that? But that is a matter of public record. Anybody can get that, I believe. So
Yeah, and let me just say this. Did we lose her?
no, I have an incoming call.
Oh, okay. It's all right.
There we go.
Are
I'm
we-
back.
She's back.
Incoming call. I
So,
don't know who it was.
you know what was stunning to me, Mary? The layers. She demanded $5,000. Otherwise, she was going to hit him with this temporary restraining order, which she did. She carried out her threat. She didn't just make it, she carried it out. But what's incredible is that in order to set this man up, who she has been taking money from for years, Marcos Gutierrez in the phone call video where you sent me that clip said she's been stealing from my client gave him thousands of dollars, right?
Right.
You confronted her about that, and she told
Yes.
you he bought her a bedroom set.
Yes, she bragged. She bragged that he bought her a $3,000 bedroom set. She then later did a video on her page making fun of me, saying that, where's the bedroom set? I don't see a bedroom set here. But the fact is, we know that she's very needy of money. I mean, later in the show, we're going to see that she's always asking for money from people that she's extorting from. And when she doesn't get her way, things like this happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You get smeared on the internet. You get smeared on social media. And I just want to say really quick, I've had so many people contact me. It's beyond belief since I did your interview 2 weeks ago. So many people from all different levels. Some of them were her moderators. Some of them were her followers. Some of them were her friends. And, we also covered the fact that there is a show, Dr. Phil, regarding cyberbullying that she and 2 other people are going to be on. It hasn't aired yet, but there was a taping about, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, regarding cyberbullying. And she's in the show, and we know that she tried to get that show to be shut down and threatened to sue not to air it, and then did a couple videos discussing the show, trying to put her twist on it, get her audience to think that, this. Well, you covered it. You covered it on one of your shows, what she was trying to do. So we don't know when that's going to air. But why I bring it up is it's significant because it runs in with what we're talking about today. We have a person who does cyberbully. And if Dr. Phil didn't get it out of her and that show, he can contact me because I have all the means that she would pass my way that she probably denied in the Dr. Phil show, where she would make fun of these people, fatty one, fatty two, con one, con two. And what I learned about Paloma is that she projects. And that means when she's accusing somebody of doing something, it's actually her. So when she's calling somebody a con, you better look at yourself and let's see who is really the con. When you're and in the cyberbullying she did with me, she accused me of atrocious things. Anybody that knows us, my family, I've got 4 grown children. We've got longtime friends. My granddaughter has been, she has medical records since she was born. She has cerebral palsy and she has some other issues. She's epileptic and she's also mentally delayed. So the work I do with my granddaughter is absolutely, she requires my care 7/24. I change diapers every day. I hand feed my granddaughter, and I will not have her go to a home. And because I won't have her go to God help me, because grandparents don't have any rights. And my son, my oldest son, wanted, really, he couldn't take care of her. And I was fortunate enough to let the courts allowed him to have full custody. And then he gave me the custody of her. So it was a godsend that I was able to have her, and she's a blessing. And a lot of people say, well, it's too bad, and they feel sorry for me. And I try to explain to people, I am the happiest person on earth, because when my granddaughter wasn't with me, she was with the other grandparent, and she was a heroin addict. And it was horrible to think that my granddaughter wasn't being cared for properly. And so, like I said, God intervened. And when she was 6 years old, my son got full custody. And then we did the paperwork to have her, I have full custody of her. So now she's an adult, and it's just been a pure, I don't consider all this work I do. It is a lot of work. She needs help walking. So every time we're walking back and forth to the house or up and down the stairs, I'm with her every second to help her walk. So, it is a sacrifice in a sense, but it is my pleasure to have my granddaughter in my life. So to have somebody like Paloma to come and tell her audience that I'm this horrible person, she doesn't even admit to her audience that I'm her grandmother. She says, this woman, and she doesn't even explain that I'm actually her friend, that she grossly treated me poorly over a picture I took with her, somebody she didn't want me to take a picture with, somebody that she was.
I just want to mention that I think she made a grave mistake in attacking you and your granddaughter, and trying to play a doctor herself, talking to people about your granddaughter's diagnosis without knowing what she is talking about. And I mean, I don't mean to brag here, but I worked in Social Security disability a lot, so I know what people need to be caretakers, to qualify for disability benefits, the harrowing experiences, and how many people don't end up in a blessed situation like your granddaughter's in, that have to go into institutions. And I just have to tell you, it angered a lot of the disability community that follows us. It made them very angry to hear her express herself so ignorantly about something she knows nothing about, obviously knows nothing about. So I hope that it is somewhat of a, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not worried. People thought, oh, you must be going through a heck of a time right now. And I just want to let everybody know, she doesn't know who she's messing with. I have got to be, she thinks, because she's so accustomed to threatening people. She threatened to call my landlord that I had dogs. Mm-hmm. Little does she know that there's a new landlord, and the new landlord knows. So she and I haven't been talking in about 4 or 5 months. So since that time, I have a new landlord. And they already know about my dogs, but she threatened on social media to have to call my landlord. So here's a person who wants to actually make me homeless.
Yeah.
She wants to create a place. She's so vindictive. I mean, who does this? What kind of person? So when people out there on Facebook are defending her and saying, well, you're just attacking her, I'm not. I'm speaking out. I'm speaking out for the truth. And if there's some of you that can't decipher what's going on here, I feel sorry for you, because then you can just go along with her with her lies, because that's what she does. She's not just me, it's other people. There's conservative Anthony, there's other people that she doesn't like, that she talks about them all the time, and they have a past, or there was a past. It really looks very, very unbecoming when you try to say you're representing Trump, and when you're trying to say, I'm a conservative. I don't think so. These tactics that she uses and the way she's behaving and attacking other conservatives like myself and most of her friends that aren't her friends anymore, this is not what Americans do. She claims she lives in Mexico and she doesn't have a residence here. I think she should just stay in Mexico and take that Trump hat off. I'm sorry. You do not represent Trump supporters, and you do not represent any conservatives. When you come and attack children, and she has attacked children.
Yeah.
I know of other people that she's attacked their children, made memes, really
Mm-hmm.
really mean memes, and blowing up their face and blowing up their toes, and some of them were special needs children.
Yeah.
She even makes memes against special needs children, like my granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry if I'm getting off on a tangent.
No, I think these are examples, and we're going to get into. I'm gonna reiterate some of these examples you've given. You're following exactly where I want to go, because I want to be very scientific and take those anecdotes of your personal experience and show people how a bully uses these tactics against their victims.
And it's getting dark in my room because the sun's going down. Can you give me a few minutes, maybe take me off the air for a minute and talk about something else?
I totally will. I'm going to switch to me right now, and you can light it up in your room.
Yeah.
Okay. So, folks, I want to show, while Mary Tando is lighting up her room, a receipt that she sent me that we were just talking about that was left at her house. As you heard her say, this receipt was left at her house, and it's a receipt for a train trip that was paid for Paloma's bestie, Crystal. Her friend Crystal's name is on it, and her daughter actually scribbled all over this receipt. Her little child scribbled all over this receipt, which is why it's got scribbles all over it. And it was from the credit card of Pablo. We redacted his name here as well. Same town as the lawsuit you just saw. It's all the same guy. This is the man, by the way, that Marcos Gutierrez says on that video that I shared with you from years ago, where he said that Paloma had been ripping off his client for money. This woman, Paloma, when confronted by Mary Tando about that allegation, that phone call, that video, she said, yeah, and I can get money from him anytime I want. And Marcos doesn't care, and it's just all cool. And he's going to keep giving me more money. And as you saw, Mr. Pablo said in his declaration that he was romantically involved. In his response, that's what he said. He had a romantic relationship with Paloma for fraud. I may be reading too much into this, but my guess is that in his response, he was sharing what seems to be a story of being lied to, of being told, of being strung along. That's what it sounded like to me, that this guy was trying to send money and money and money. And he doesn't think the guy he was talking to was a lawyer, because obviously the guy was very unethical and recorded him, and was then being used as a way of extorting money from Pablo. That's why he doesn't feel that this guy was a real lawyer. But that Paloma did leave that receipt that we just showed on screen at your house, right?
Right.
I just wanted you to confirm that you found this at your house, and that it was a receipt that Paloma left for a train ticket for her friend Krista.
I think Krista left it. I'm not sure
Maybe
that Paloma
Krista left,
it.
but both of them were at your house, though, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And her daughter wrote
Yeah.
on it.
Excuse me?
Her daughter wrote all over it.
Yeah, she scribbled on it. She's adorable.
So that is the provenance of that receipt. And the name on it is the same as the guy that was getting bullied. Mary, you just described a lot of the different kinds of bullying tactics that she has used, making fun of people, slandering them, smearing them on her platform. You just have a page. She has a platform. She had thousands of followers. And
she has thousands of followers, and she's abusing that. I mean, I just have a personal page like most people just have a personal page, and I'm not into views. I make posts about the news, and I don't post about people harassing me. But coming on your radio program, this is a forum where I can properly do that. But on her page, she's trashing people all the time, and she thinks it's a joke, and she thinks it's funny. And this is a form of cyberbullying. And what she's trying to do is silence people. When she attacks people, she silences them.
yeah, and that's another form of abuse. Now, you recently had one of those people that reached out to you tell you that she was also extorting money out of her, but she was pulling on her heartstrings because of a dog. You are also a person that rescues dogs. Is that correct?
I have a big heart for animals and for people. I've had homeless people stay with me before. So anybody who crosses my path, I'm very gracious and I try to help people. And they could be people I don't know.
I
So
want to show
yes.
I want to show a picture of a dog that you actually had kind of laying by your side on your last interview with me. This
Yeah.
is a picture of a dog you rescued, right?
Yeah, so that's a day I rescued her and got her in the bathtub. She never even walked upstairs before. She never even knew what it was like to be outside of a backyard. She stayed in a backyard and it didn't even have shelter. So in the winter, she kept warm by sleeping underneath in some bushes. And in the summer, she slept was underneath some trees, but she never even had a dog house.
Poor puppy. Now look at her.
And I called all of the agencies that you would need to call to go and help because her condition was so poor health-wise. So that's the first day I got her. And of course, thousands of dollars later over the years, I've had her 5 years, but, she's all pretty, she healed up, but it costs a lot of money.
She's so beautiful now.
In Mexico, as Paloma likes to say, that it doesn't cost as much money and that she doesn't understand why, how, it's so expensive in the United States for vet care compared to Mexico.
Right.
And that is very true. And so that was kind of my concern when, on your last interview, my main concern were the things that I talked about. One of them was the condition of a dog that, two of them that I had seen. One of them was in my care in my house for one day. And she flourished here at the house, but when I took her a bath, she had fleas. And so we're talking about 6 months ago that I asked her, was the dog going to be with other dogs? And if the other dogs had fleas, and she said they all had fleas. And I explained to her that is not good because this dog was sick. Apparently she was sick. And she wasn't eating and she had problems. And at my house, she was getting well. Just in one day, she was already getting well. She had already taken the dog to the vet. They already had her on antibiotics and she was starting to eat. But when she was at my house, she ate a whole bunch. I mean, she was running around, she had energy, she was eating, and I kept sending videos of her. I say, look what she's doing. She's fine. You need to get her this dog food. She's crunching down on these nibbles and she's eating the chicken that I cook because I used to cook for my dogs. I just recently stopped.
You gave her a bath. You played with her.
She was really sticky, and so I gave her a bath, and that's when I seen that she had fleas, and we discussed it, and I said all of the animals that she has have to be defleed. You either have to take them a flea bath, or get them the cat star pill, which here it's $5, in Mexico it's probably $1,
right,
which kills the fleas immediately. And what shocked me was since I did your radio program, I think that was like 2 weeks ago, so many people contacted me, and one in particular lady had a really heartfelt story. She said that she had given Paloma thousands of dollars. So you have to understand, Paloma has not just Trump supporters that support her, but she has animal activists that support her, people that are animal lovers, like myself. I don't have an animal rescue, but this particular lady was involved with animal rescue, and she contacted me to let me know that she had stopped talking to Paloma for about a month. And it's really weird, after watching the show, Paloma had contacted her telling her that she needs more money. So the
Let me
problem
just put that.
was,
Let me just put those messages up on screen so folks can see the receipts here. We redacted the name of the person, but she sent you these texts. It says, noticed
and this is
something.
not, yeah.
Paloma's asking this woman, saying, I noticed something awful on Duquesa today and called the vet. She needs to go to the vet ASAP. This is her text, Paloma's text to this person. I have a lot of bills with one of my little ones who got sick, and I truly cannot afford any more as I am paying for my school soon. So this is very recent. We know she's been talking about going to school recently. She has an awful virus that is making her lose a lot of weight, and her eyes are turning blue. Now,
So, yeah, let me just backtrack. So this dog was roaming the streets of Tijuana. I think Ben Bergwam and Paloma were doing a live video, and her friend seen this, and on the live video said, "Oh, can you go back and pick up that dog?" And then they conversed over the couple of days, and she said, "I really want to adopt this dog. Could you go back and check to see if it's still on the streets?" And she did. She went and got the dog, and that's, part of the thousands of dollars that this poor lady gave her to make sure that the dog is okay, to make sure that the dog goes to the vet. And they were making plans to get the dog to her. She's here in the United States. And to this day, she never got the dog. And what's heartbreaking is, this is what's most heartbreaking. First of all, it's not a joke when you take advantage of people and their kind hearts when they want to help animals.
mm-hmm.
It's not a joke to take thousands and thousands of dollars because that person cares about what you're doing for animals, what you're supposed to be doing for animals. Now, mind you, these sicknesses, the viruses that these dogs have, keeps happening. These dogs are not healthy. And I don't care that they live in Tijuana. If they're under the proper care, if you really are a dog or an animal rescuer, if you really are an animal supporter, you're not going to have your dogs and cats infested with lice or whatever you call that, scabies, ticks and fleas. So this person contacted, so she contacts this person to say that all the animals have ticks and fleas. Now this is 2 weeks ago, and yet I told her 6 months ago that she can't do that because it's creating the animals to be sick, and the little puppy that she had brought to me has a weaker immune system and is not going to be as strong fighting off those diseases that the other dogs do. But ultimately, a lot of her dogs are sick. And what makes me really, really concerned is yesterday she did a video of this dog that this poor lady spent thousands of dollars to support the animals and to get the dog vetted and to give her the dog. The agreement was she was going to adopt the dog from Paloma. But Paloma took her money, thousands of dollars of her money, and never gave her the dog.
Wow.
So the lady stopped talking to her. The lady stopped talking to her a month ago, and then, like I said, 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden, or for a month, they stopped talking. And the lady has every right to stop interacting with her because she got the clue that she's not going to get the dog.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, she contacts her again, doesn't say anything about how are you, I'm sorry I haven't sent you the dog. Instead, she calls her to tell her that the dog is dying and I want more money.
Oh my God.
And the lady tells her, go get a job. My husband works 2 jobs to support me and the animals that I rescue, and you go get a job, and your husband should go get a job.
Oh my God. See, this is, folks, I just want to stop you there for a minute because, and I know you're not used to this, Mary, this bullying and these attacks on you for coming forward. I want to keep encouraging you, like I know you are giving strength to people by being here and encouraging them to speak out. This woman has extorted money by the thousands and thousands of dollars because of the dogs, because of compromising pictures. She's making people go to court. And you know firsthand, a lot of you who've been watching her videos have seen she enjoys doing this. She thinks it's funny that people in the United States are going to go to court and take a day off work and spend money on lawyers and do all of this traveling and have expense, and that she's not even going to show up, that she's not going to even be at court. To her, this is a game. This is a way of getting money out of people that she sees as targets.
And what I want to emphasize is this particular dog, and I think you might have a picture of the beautiful Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah, I have one right here. I'll
This
put it up.
dog was supposed to have been dying 2 weeks ago. Yet yesterday, and that was what she told the lady to get more money out of the lady. And then she was telling the lady, well, if this dog dies, it's on your hands. I mean, it's very heartless how she communicates with people, and she's so demanding. And a true animal lover is not going to treat another animal lover like that. I mean, there's just no compassion there at all. It's very cruel. She's a very mean person, and I've said that before. So this animal, she has these lives having IVs at the hospital yesterday at the vet. Yet 2 weeks ago, she said the dog was sick and dying. So 2 weeks ago, and she barely takes the dog. So the dog has been suffering. She said that the dog was sick 2 weeks ago, and yesterday she finally gets the dog to the vet because it was almost dying because at a high temperature. Now what is she doing with the dog? She's asking for donations, and people are just saying, "What's happening? What's happening? Oh yes, I'm sending money right now." Is this pathetic?
I want to show
the dog that this lady was supposed to adopt spent thousands and thousands of dollars for vet care, admitting that the vet care in Tijuana is very inexpensive, yet you don't get your animals defleed, and you don't provide a clean environment for them, and you don't take them to the doctor when they're supposed to. 2 weeks ago, the dog was supposed to be dying. I think I sent you something in regards to that. She said that the dog was dying you read it already.
Actually, I'm gonna show you her response. This person's response here. I didn't get to read. This is the Paloma Dog Money Text 2, and in it, this person says back to Paloma, "Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Yet I'm not going to be able to help. My husband no longer wants me to donate any funds." This is after this woman has already shelled over thousands of dollars, like 5,000, I think you said, Mary.
I don't know. It's thousands of dollars, though.
He was shocked by your behavior. Needless to say, so was I. The dog was supposed to be mine, and you decided without communicating with me that she was going to be yours. I was prepared to pick up or arrange a transport, yet unknown to me, you had no intention of giving her up. We even spoke about when you were heading to D.C., you'd bring her with you, but nothing. Then I agreed with you to take that one pit bull and send your funds, but nothing. Then there was another pit bull we spoke about, and I had a rescue that would pick up the dog in San Diego, but again, nothing. I'm shocked that you'd reach out to me for funds, yet not say how are you doing? Is everything okay? How are things? Or even explain why all of the bad things you did. I'm guessing that's how that text ends. Yeah, she never explained to this poor woman why she made those decisions, why she took her money and never followed through with a single dog. She didn't even obviously take care of the dogs.
It is so unconscionable. And she can just bury that woman and no one knows the story. Now people are going to hear the story. Finally, after she's seen the dog in the hospital yesterday, it urged her to respond to her on Facebook, and immediately Paloma deletes the message and blocks her so that no one can see that this person sent money, that this person was expecting to adopt the dog, and that was the arrangement. And then, learning that maybe she didn't want to give up the dog, she was willing to take some other dogs. It's just horrendous. This is who she is. This is not smearing anybody, by the way.
Yeah, and by the way, this is what she is saying, then doing videos about, while she is making herself seem like the savior of the animals and the good person that is caring for all of these people. Now, I want to get into the wheels of abuse. There are a couple of graphics that I have here that I want to discuss. Power wheel 1. I think you just scrolled by that. No.
And I just want to say something while you're looking for that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Paloma's listening. She'll listen to this video when when we're not live any longer, I'm sure. Paloma, you should do the right thing and give that woman the dog. You have no right to keep that dog when she's giving you so much money and she wants to offer that dog a good home. Why would you not let that dog go to a good home? A woman who was a friend of yours, a woman who supported you on your page, who gave you thousands and thousands of dollars, and you just ignore her and just get rid of her and block her. And no one would ever know this story. I hope people share this just for the fact this story goes out. I urged Paloma to do the right thing and give that poor dog that's on IVs right now to this woman. I'll pick it up. I'm in San Diego. I can pick it up for her. That dog deserves to be in a good home. Obviously, Paloma's dogs get sick quite often. Always asking for money because her dogs are sick. These dogs deserve good homes, and she should let this dog go to the proper owner. That's all I have to say.
Well, I would like
She
to
won't.
hope.
I know she won't.
I would like to
probably,
hope for a miracle, Mary. We got one today with the Supreme Court, so miracles do happen. But I just know that the abusive nature of this person is one where they will try to take what is most precious from their victims. And for this dog lover, nothing would be more precious than this animal that she has been pouring her love and financial support into. So the cruelest thing that she could do would be to keep it from her. And I think that is probably what will end up happening. Hopefully, maybe the urging of people that are her followers to do some higher purpose might urge her to do the right thing. You never know. We can only pray and hope. But she has been, exhibiting these signs of the abuser. I want to show you the first wheel here. This is Power Wheel 1. And, I remember learning about this all the way back in high school when they were telling us how to avoid being controlled by physical or sexual violence by partners or friends or people around us, and how to be able to tell the signs of when you're being, abused. One of these signs, and the victims of Paloma will be able to recognize. And if you want to speak to these when I get through them, Mary, just let me know. But one of them is using coercion and threats. So, making threats and following through with threats.
My dog's barking downstairs. He probably has to go to the bathroom. I thought I let the back door open, but it's okay. Go ahead.
You can go down there and Mary, let the dog out. Who let the dog out? Woo, 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 woo. Go let the dog out. I will go through the whole cycle.
No, I left the back. I don't know why he's barking. I let the back door open. Okay, hold on. I gotta go see why he's barking.
Yep, go find out. It's okay. We'll go through the wheel, and then when Mary gets back, we'll talk about it some more. So we've got using coercion and threats, making threats, carrying them out. She did that to Pablo. She's done it to a lot of other people. And think about the complexity, Duke, of what she did to this man, Pablo. She not only threatened to put a temporary restraining order on him and carry it out such that he had to go hire a lawyer and take out time out of his day and spend money to go and fight against this bogus thing. She, in order to do that, pretended to have a lawyer, puts him in touch with the lawyer. This after extorting money for thousands and thousands of dollars of money under some, love relationship he thinks he's in, where she's supposedly divorcing Jean Faraon, her husband.
Yeah, I said, divorce? Divorce? Since when? Divorce?
Sounds like a big scam.
Yeah, it sounds like a scam to me.
Sounds like one of her many scams where she was telling this guy probably oh, I'm going to divorce him, but I need money. I'm totally going to leave him. I'm in love with you. Also, I do got to sell this house to leave Tijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And, but in order to sell it, I got to fix some things on it. And, you want to send money to my lawyer and talk to my lawyer. And how interesting that the lawyer recorded his private legal consultations
Mm-hmm.
with this client that was paying him,
And then she used it to extort him.
and used it to give it to Paloma so that it was in an edited form that
Mm-hmm.
that Paloma could use to say, send me $5,000 or else. And guess what? She doesn't care whether or not the extortion works. She is in Mexico where she can avoid the long arm of the law. Where a person in the United States that she has extorted money from or conned out of thousands of dollars can't just go to the local district attorney and say, this woman committed fraud. And it's in the thousands of dollars range. So this should be a form of larceny, or this should be, some felonious theft, because she lives in Tijuana in Mexico. And she never lets anybody know where she lives. Now you know why.
Exactly.
So threats in the wheel, we're back to the wheel. We got threats, using the use of threats and coercion, using intimidating. And I think that abusing pets is right there on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Abusing pets, using emotional abuse, putting people down, making them feel bad about their looks or themselves, making people think they're crazy, playing with their mind, humiliating them. The victims in the chat, I hope, whether you're an animal lover or you are one of the victims of this form of abuse, that you are sharing the show to all of your groups. Let people know this is a public service announcement. We should be able to put this in hundreds and hundreds of groups so that people will know not only the tactics, will be on alert for this particular bully, because she has been bullying literally dozens and dozens of people, and how to avoid it. Now, in this wheel of abuse, we see that it's also the use of isolation, controlling what other people do, who they talk to, who they can be friends with. This happened to you, Mary, didn't it? Did you get in trouble for taking a picture with someone? You were told how dare you? I think I have the text here. Could you put up the never speak to
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
she sends you a picture.
It's all very immature. I mean, nobody really talks like this. Adults shouldn't talk like this or text like this. If you want to, end a friendship because I take a picture with somebody you don't like, that's fine. You just say you want to end the friendship. The funny thing is, she does videos opposite of that. She says, I'm the one who blew up and didn't know how to end the friendship. In fact, she keeps reiterating that I am jealous, that I'm hurt, that I don't have her as a friend anymore. So that's not true.
She posted this to you, and this is her text. You took a picture with Melinda. You were just being friendly. You were being an adult. You're not supposed to do that, apparently. And she sent it to you with the, I never want to talk to you again. You are out of my life forever and everything. Everything. And then she told you she's going to block you. She says, I'm blocking you, and never, ever contact me again. And I will be careful. And then she says that, I don't know who you really are. Thank you. I needed this. I really needed to feel like me again. And then she says that your intent is horrible because by being friendly to Melinda, you were allowing this person, Melinda, to have abused her. She says she, referring to Melinda, has done everything in her pathetic power to destroy me. And intent is all that matters. People go to jail for pure intent. No, I don't think they do. I don't know. Nope. And it says, you took a picture today with the woman who got me thrown out of MOAR. I'm not sure what that is. What is
Well,
what is that? Do you know?
that's just a rally.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't even exist anymore. And the funny thing is, when she first told me that she got removed as a speaker at Moore, I asked her, was it Amy and Melinda that did that? She said, no, no, no. I have the text message. She says, no, no, it was other people. So now all of a sudden she switches that up, and all of a sudden that Melinda was the reason that she's not, with the rally. But that rally doesn't exist anymore.
And
But
she actually made a post. I just want to walk through this really quick. She actually made a post while she was fighting with you, while she was telling you that you were out of her life forever and ever, and that she doesn't know who you even are, and that you allowed this to happen to her. And she sent it to you, which was a post she made on her page that says, "Oh my God, I just got a call about Melinda, aka Fatso1, begging to take a picture with my best friend who testified against her in court at an event today. Oh my God, when they hardly recognize her because she is such a nobody." So funny how they go, no dignity, no self-respect, trying to pretend, and later beg for money. Watch her post the picture and act as if they're friends and someone has betrayed me. They're doing it with anyone they can while we all laugh because they literally beg. So sad to see these fakes using the MAGA movement when so much is at stake. And she sends you that post and says, I had to post this before Melinda makes me look like a total fool.
yeah,
So she sends this to
I don't
you,
really
and it's a total
I don't
lie.
really understand that. You know what? Look, if you don't like me, that's fine. But she flashes it all over the place that I'm just mad because she won't let me be her friend. Very, very childish. I've spoken about that before. All of this is all childish. Nobody should be going through this. But let me reiterate. She did a live video about, I don't know, 10 days ago, and she's like, I want to be friends with Melinda, and I want to be friends with Amy. See, here's my text messages. Here's my text messages, and she's actually doing what I did. Why did I take a picture with Melinda? Well, because Melinda and Paloma were fighting. I had to go to court on Paloma's behalf to actually kind of vouch for her credibility, that I didn't think she would make a threat to somebody. But since then, I've learned she has made a threat to somebody, and that's another day for another show.
Yeah.
Had I known that there's a police report out there against Paloma for making a threat to kill somebody, I would have never went to court on her behalf as a character witness. So, I believed in Paloma, and little things unraveled here and there, and it was just all unnecessary for her to send me those text messages, to get angry over a photo. But that day when we took that photo, I went up to Melinda and I introduced myself because I had never met her, and I said, this infighting has to stop.
Yeah.
It really doesn't look good for the conservatives. It doesn't look good for
But Mary,
Trump.
she was angry because you weren't willing to keep fighting and treating this other woman as an enemy.
Yeah, and she wasn't my enemy. I don't even know the woman. I was just in court on behalf of Paloma's character as I knew it then, which is different than what I know now.
She's accusing you of being a needy person that wanted to use her like a servant, and she's accusing me of being a divider of people in the conservative movement. And she's literally sending you a message in which, if you look at this message where she's talking about how that you made her look like a total fool by taking this picture, so she had to make a fake post about how you and her already talked about it, and you didn't even know who this wacko was that she begged to take a photo with you. She makes it all up and then tells you, I had to make up this lie on my page before you make me look like a fool. Melinda makes me look like a fool. And then she comes back at you by saying that this Melinda person accused her of being a criminal and part of a cartel. So she really projects to the world that she has the friends and she can burn someone's reputation and isolate that person, where she will turn all of her followers against that person, where, they're cut off. That's on the wheel. That's part of the isolation tactics of a bully and an extortionist. Do you want to speak to that?
And that's what she is. She wants to silence people. She wants to threaten people. Look what she did to me. I want everybody to know what she did to me. Every single day, almost, she talks about me to her audience. She even posts my picture, and I don't know if you have that or not.
I
She
do.
has my name. She has my photo and my name. And she's telling her audience that I drug my granddaughter, that I let her sit at bath and feces, that she's disabled because of me, because I don't take care of her right. People started asking her for, advice on their backaches and their pains, and she had to make a post. I'm not a doctor and I don't diagnose people, yet she blatantly diagnosed my granddaughter, not knowing anything about her history, anything about her disability. That's how ignorant she is. And she tells her followers that, doesn't even give them the information. Of course, you're never going to get the truth with Paloma.
I'm
And I
sharing
want
the. I'm actually sharing the post you're referring to, where it looks like she's doctored your image.
Yeah, I have 2 teeth missing on the side right here. And I have more bags than I normally have under my eyes. And she does that.
By the way, Mary,
she does that on purpose. She
I just
thinks
want
it's
to.
going to make me mad. She thinks it makes people mad because it would make her mad probably. But, that's all childish. But this is the mindset of her. This is her mindset. And she gets giggles out of it. She thinks it's really funny.
Right. Well, you know
Pretty
what?
pathetic. It's pretty pathetic.
I'm going to tell you something, Mary. I think you're beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You are. And you're not just beautiful in your face and your hair, like on the outside. You're beautiful inside.
Oh my gosh, you are too kind. But thank you very much.
No, it's true. And you're.
I like to live my life with integrity. I think integrity is important, and I think all of this what she's doing on the internet, anybody can go to my page and just look at my page. It's completely opposite from Paloma's page. Paloma is just talking about people, and these people, we don't even know who they really are because she tries to be very secretive and she talks in, code language and things, but she tries to silence people. I'm not going to be silenced. She's trying to get me kicked out of my house. I mean, she wouldn't be more happy than for me to get kicked out because I have more than one dog here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what she's telling. She's telling her audience that that I'm the reason my granddaughter is disabled. So everybody is sending me messages in Facebook Messenger, threatening me. She doesn't understand what she's doing, and she laughs about it. She thinks it's funny, and she thinks I'm going to be intimidated. She thinks I'm going to be, silenced, and that's what I want to kind of bring out right now. If you could help me with what this show is about, we want to encourage people that are suffering from some kind of abuse. When you have somebody like this in your life, she
she's
kind of
actually
preys on needy people. Too.
She's actually threatened to report your granddaughter to CPS. I have the graphic up for people to see, and
Yes,
said
and
that
then,
and said
and
she
then
was going to do it.
She actually has a post that says, "Oh, done. I phoned CPS. All done. I hate to do it, but it's because everybody wanted me to do it." I mean, the woman is sick. Of course they want you to do it if they're going to believe all this stuff that you're saying that's happening, which is a complete lie.
Mm-hmm. It's also evil.
It is.
It is very evil
You know what? That's true. You hit the nail on the head. That is really sick stuff, and that comes from a pretty dark heart. That comes from a very dark soul.
Look, I know that my mom explained to me that the difference between the love that you have for a child and the love that you have for a grandchild is that you have matured enough as a grandparent to love that grandchild exponentially. So I can only imagine, as a mom and a grandma that you are, that the thing that would be, she knows that the thing that would be the most harmful to you would be to take away what is most precious to you. That's why she has made this vile attack. Not that she will be able to complete it, but
oh no.
but the fact remains. But the fact remains that what she is doing is part of the cycle of abuse. Let's go back to the wheel for a moment. I want to show people how the abuse works so you can recognize it, because the first way that we have to attack a problem like bullying and extortion tactics is by understanding what the tools of the enemy are. They use children or vulnerable people like animals, right? They use economic abuse. Let's look at the teen wheel, the second wheel here. These have been they're called the control wheel. They've been updated. One of the things we haven't yet talked about is sexual coercion. We did talk about a person that has been in a romantic relationship with her that has alleged that he has been basically extorted for money. And another thing we haven't talked about, which we see featured here, is using social status. So treating others like servants, making decisions unilaterally without checking in with other people. Sounds like she did that to the lady she took money from and never gave the dog to. Acting like the master of the castle. And this is one of the things that she does on social media. She's so important. She has all the followers. Everyone wants to be like her, right? It's part of the bullying tactic, because you know what it makes you feel like? And I know that you felt it, Mary, because you've said things that indicate it. You say, she has a platform. She's saying all these things to her thousands of followers. All I have is my Facebook page. Well, this tactic is meant to make you feel small, Mary. It's meant to make all the victims feel like, what can they really do to reply to the horrible things that she's doing or saying about them? They don't have thousands of followers that blindly say, believe what she says. You have firsthand experience as someone that has been bullied. How have you been able to stay strong and overcome those urges?
You know what? That's an easy answer. I'm just going to tell you right off the top, I have a strong faith in God since I was a young child. I was 7 years old, and I would take myself to the corner and wait for a bus to take me to church. And my parents never took me to church. I went to church on my own. I used to go to a summer school Bible study. I'd take myself around the corner, and somebody was having a summer Bible study. So I am a person who lives with a very strong faith in God. I've had, of course, a difficult life. I was a young mother. I have 4 grown children. I should have sent you a picture of my beautiful daughter. She made on one of her posts, she made fun of me in a lot of different ways, saying, oh, she just wants to be a 20-year-old. She has a daughter my age. And I'm thinking, yeah, I have a daughter your age, and she's completely opposite of you. She's mature, respectful. And I think I did send you my beautiful daughter's picture, but I forgot. Maybe you might have overlooked it and didn't know that was my daughter. I would have loved for my daughter to be put up on the screen.
Oh, I didn't use all the pictures and things.
It's okay.
Mary, are you going to come back on my show? Maybe we can use it on the next one.
I would love to come back on the show, because there's so much that I have to say. So many people contacted me, and they're very heartfelt messages, like I said. And I think, we need to discuss this.
Yes, that's the first step, Mary. Exposing it to the truth.
Right.
That's the first step.
And, I just pointed out a few people today, or the one particular lady with the dog, which is relevant because the dog was in the hospital yesterday dying, and she contacted her and said that the dog was dying 2 weeks ago, which the doctor should have seen the dog 2 weeks ago, not yesterday.
And let me just say that, I'm glad that you're doing that, because you're showing that person who may not have the strength right now, because they're being crushed emotionally because this dog is something they really care about. But they feel isolated, and you are showing that person, and you're showing all the victims out there, they don't have to be alone.
Exactly. And we just want to encourage everybody here to come forward and, maybe contact you if they have anything they need to share with you.
Contact other victims too. People have been reaching out to you, for example.
Yeah, a lot of people have reached out to me, a lot of people, and their words of encouragement. These are really strong people. I've had one person who has actually contacted the president, and she encourages people that have had this encounter with her to contact the president. And I say contact other affiliations that she has with other associations with, because you don't want to have a person like this representing anything that has to do with politics. I mean, she's body shames people, she threatens people, she lies about people. And go to her page, and all she's doing is talking about somebody and giving you a false reality of whoever it is that she's talking about. And I thought, her page was supposed to be about the border. You're not going to see anything about the border on her page. You're going to see her trashing people and talking about people, and no one can come forward and refute it. No one can come forward and rebuke it. You don't have a rebuttal on her page, or her admins will immediately have you blocked and immediately erase whatever comment that you want to get through. So it's not a very fair forum. It's kind of like a very bullying. It's a bullying place, but people I just want everybody to know, I'm fine, I'm okay, because of my faith. I pray often in my day, just because I have so much going on. I have, my granddaughter's in diapers. My granddaughter has to be hand fed. I have to make homemade food for her. And all of that takes time and energy. And sometimes I don't even have time to brush my teeth or brush my hair. Like today, I don't look all that great. But it's just, it's a dedication I have, and I have the strength that God, with my faith in God, there's no fear. I have no fear. So that's what she wants to do. She wants to instill fear. When she wants to attack me and call CPS, and she wants to tell people that my granddaughter's in bad shape, that I'm the reason that she's disabled, when she wants to say these horrific things, the sad thing is, because she projects, and because I let her, she's always needing money, and I've let her watch my granddaughter before, and I paid her a lot of money because it's a lot of work. And my granddaughter's with me all the time when I travel. My granddaughter goes to concerts with me because she loves music. We love going across the country and flying together. I bring my little dog, but and I do it alone, believe it or not. But what I'm trying to get at is that, she is the love of my life. And one time I had Paloma watch her, and when I look at these accusations that she sits in a bathtub with poop, ridiculous. I almost just threw up when I read that. So she's drugged, unbelievable. What horrible things to say, that she drags herself on the ground. And I'm thinking, wow, is that what she did to my granddaughter when she was caring for my granddaughter when I was out of town for a few days? Is that what she did to my granddaughter? I mean, we're dealing with a sick person. Who thinks of all these things? She's really, wow. It's scary. It's scary. But you know what? I believe that she was well cared for. I can't go there and worry about that. My granddaughter is safe, and she's happy, and we're happy, and
we're all smarter. And we're smarter because you had the courage to come forward. I do want to remind people that in order to overcome and prevent bullying, you got to expose it to the light of truth. You have to unite with others. Don't do it alone. And you have to create an environment of safety. That means if you see something, report it. Say something, right? Don't let this kind of bullying fester. I wanted to share with you guys that this is some other evidence that you sent to me that I thought was very telling about her connections to some of the people I've exposed in the past. Sonia, the smuggler that was working with Pueblos Sin Fronteras, was a person she was questioned about. I didn't have this question alone. Lots of other people had a question about why Paloma had befriended this woman who is a smuggler that had been accused. She now and still maintains that this woman was just a crazy person. Nobody asked any more questions about it. Move on to your next topic, because that was just a crazy person. But here in this post, someone else, a comment, this person was asked, Paloma was asked, the AIC project page has posted that Sonia got arrested for inciting the remainder of caravanners at the old place, which is in the streets, not to obey officers and go to the new stadium. That was El Barretal. It was reported she bit an officer. So people told her exactly what this woman was accused of. organizing the caravans, keeping them in the streets. Did Paloma ever answer this? No. She never answered to any of the questions, the comments, and let's not forget that she was constantly in contact with Maria Mesa. She was the one that was seen carrying Maria Mesa's kids. She took this picture. This is one of many pictures that she took of Maria Mesa's kids. And she was then used as the excuse for why Maria Mesa had to flee the country. But in this video that was taken by Paloma and sent to Mary Tando, she is asking you for money. Let me translate. Go ahead and play this clip. This is Maria Mesa, the daughter, the mother of those kids. Excuse me.
Mire, ve que a nosotros nos hace falta la comida y no sé, usted los va a regalar dinero ahí, a la comida y unas cosas que nos hacen falta con las niñas y la familia.
Usted nos va a regalar dinero. You are going to gift us some money, she says. She asks in the very brief video that she makes that was sent to Mary, we need some stuff. There's no, hi, how are you doing? I am Maria Mesa. I have 5 kids. I'm from Honduras, as you probably know. She's like, hey, we need things. And I heard you're giving away money. I would like for you to send us this stuff. What's really crazy, and I know that you did send donations. You told me about it. We don't have to go into all the detail because Paloma talks about the fact that you were so worried about this family that you were sending donations, and she even alleges that you were planning on crossing people illegally into the United States. Yes. But here's something she never told anyone, and I think it's very important that you talk about it. Maria Mesa, you were really concerned because Paloma told you Maria Mesa and her kids were kidnapped, right?
Yes, and I guess, no one really knew about it but me, and I don't, now that I look back on it, what is the truth, because we don't really know, now I know that we don't really know what the truth is, but she told me the story that they went with some man who said he had a church, and at the church they were going to be provided for, and in fact, when she got there with the children, which was about an hour's drive away, the phones were immediately taken away from them. And this concerned the mother because then they would have no way of connecting with the outside, and she didn't know where she was. And finally, they were told that the parents and the children were going to be separated in order to cross the border. And that's when Maria fled in the middle of the night. Once she was able to see a way to get out, apparently she took her kids with nothing but the shirt on their backs, and they traveled the entire day. They walked in the middle of the night until they found a town, and by that time it was daylight. They were able to get on a bus, and they were able to find their way. They navigated their way back to the caravan, to the location where they were originally when they had the 2 tents. So after hearing this story and actually seeing that they were in these tents that were in mud, my heart just went out, and I, not even having money of my own that day, I came across the money, and I just spent it all when I came across the money on groceries. And I bought lots of things like for the kids, like some snacks and healthy snacks, and I bought some peanut butter, and I bought some bread so they could have peanut butter and bread, and I bought carton milk that you don't have to refrigerate, and some granola bars, and I spent about $100 worth of food, and I also sent a lot of blankets and some clothing. And I did that because that's a humanitarian thing to do. And I even went on my Facebook page and asked for some help, and I mostly got drugged through the dirt because people, usually the conservatives, I guess, they feel like if you're helping the illegal immigrant that you're committing some kind of a horrific crime. But I look at it from a humanitarian. You have to be able to decipher the difference. When you have people that are in her situation that were kidnapped and they have nothing. They went back, they didn't even have a tent to go back to because they left the tent behind and somebody else had occupied it. So they had absolutely nothing. So of course I'm going to send blankets because they're sleeping outside on the floor.
Right.
I'm sorry I get upset about it. I get a little passionate about it because nobody helped me.
No, but you know what? What is really
And
surprising to me that Paloma never told this story in public. She only told it to you, and
yeah.
she never did
And I
anything about
told
it. Did she file a
No, and I
police
told
report?
her, I said, you need to go to the police right away and you need to help her go take her to the police and you need to make a police report. I mean, this has to be national news. We need to know where she went. We need to know who took her. We need to know what people are there who weren't smart enough to leave. I'm sorry I get upset about it, but you know what? That's a horrific story as well.
It
You
is,
know,
but I think it. I
she
think it.
didn't do nothing.
I think
Paloma
it's.
did nothing.
I think it speaks to the fact that Paloma keeps talking about how she's doing all these things, but when it really counts, she didn't make the report. That was a kidnapping of an entire family.
Yeah.
That's really really remarkable, Mary. I don't know how many shows we're going to have you on in order to. I mean, I really appreciate it because you help us understand things. And, to all the haters out there that want to silence you, I know that you're helping victims. I know more victims are coming forward. I know more victims have sent you love. I see them sending you love on our live stream right now. So do not let them get you down. Don't let the bastards get you down. And don't forget, we cannot prevent bullying unless we talk about it, we unite around it, and we create an environment of protection for the people who are the victims. They need to get strong. They're in a weak place right now. They don't feel like they can come forward, and it's people like Mary that give them hope.
Oh, it's my pleasure to whoever wants me to come forward. It's there's a lot of victims we don't even know yet. Wait till the Dr. Phil show comes out, if it ever comes out. I mean, Paloma violated the terms of the contract, so we don't even know if it's even going to air, thanks to her doing live videos. She's just so into her live videos and into herself. She's oblivious to the real world and what the real concerns are. She's oblivious to the harm that she's causing. Maybe, she enjoys causing harm to people. Maybe she enjoys the thought that she could make me homeless by contacting my landlord, and she thought that my landlord didn't know I had more than one dog. Yeah, my old landlord, not my new landlord. Maybe she's happy to think that my granddaughter can be taken away through CPS. That's why she wants to smear me on her social platform and get others to she wants to get others to attack me. And it's all a facade. It's all an illusion, and nothing you can take from her videos has any accuracy whatsoever, and it's all heartless to think that she would want to separate my granddaughter from me based on her lies. And little does she know, we have lots of social services here with me, supporting me. We have different programs that my granddaughter is involved with. She has doctors that are involved in her life for the past 22 years. That's how old she is. And by now, think about it. If she really felt that I was such a danger to my granddaughter, why did she wait till now to talk about it?
Mm-hmm. You are absolutely 100% right. And for your strength, for your fortitude, for your inner and outer beauty, I thank you. I hope we can have you on again. And
It's been a pleasure.
thank you for coming on the show and talking about such an important topic and giving
Thank you,
people
Cindy.
examples and giving people hope.
Thank you, Cindy, and thank you, Duke. We're just thankful. All of your audience and all the people that are getting acquainted with you, we really appreciate all that you do in bringing out the subject matters that you do. They're very important to us, and this is what is important for our country. We need to come together and we need to unite, and this division has to stop, and we need to call it out on the perpetrators that are creating all this hate and all this division. This is not the time. We're at a critical point in America. We want unity, and we want people on their best behavior and to treat each other with kindness and with respect.
Mm-hmm. And when we do, we're going to get a lot done, folks. I have a feeling about it. Thanks for being with us here on a Mexican Crossing Lines.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Mary. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thanks for being with us here with Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You've been listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Buenas noches and good night.